So this is day 3 of our growth mindset week. And I've got a new thing to talk to you about today. But first, let's go ahead and do our check-in. Hopefully maybe you used that power of yet yesterday. And maybe you are going to be a little higher than you normally are. Because you're just not there yet. Let's see. So thinking on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever scale you choose, this is all about your choice, or thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs somewhere in the middle. How are you feeling this Wednesday? So for me, oh, that's a tough one. You know, sometimes it's hard to figure it out, huh? Elliot, what are you feeling? I don't know, I guess I'm like a 5 or a 6. Just kind of like, meh. It happens. Okay, so today we're going to talk about mistakes, because when we are developing our growth mindset, we're going to possibly make mistakes when we're trying something challenging and something new. And how you think about mistakes, how you decide to take the mistakes that you make, is really going to determine whether you keep going and have that growth mindset or you become a rock and have a fixed mindset and give up because you made a mistake. So, what I called mistakes in our group time during the school year, we called them great mistakes, because mistakes can be pretty awesome. You can learn a lot from making mistakes. I'm actually going to give you some examples of real mistakes that somebody made that turned into greatness. And for these people, it actually really defined their life. A mistake they made their life the exciting adventure that it was. So first up, we are going to talk about something that a lot of people probably have heard of, maybe, because it's probably one of the more common mistakes that people talk about when they talk about great mistakes. And that's the invention of penicillin. And it kind of goes along with COVID-19 and everything we're doing, because who knows? The vaccination, the cure for what we're dealing with right now might be a mistake that somebody's making in a lab someplace that's going to lead to a discovery. So go ahead, I'm going to have you check out a video about the invention of penicillin.
Having been brought up on a farm in Scotland, scientist Alexander Fleming wasn't afraid of getting his hands dirty, examining nasty bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus, which in humans, as well as horses, can cause death, as well as vomiting and boils. One day, in 1928, Fleming came back from his holidays. He found some cultures of the Staphylococcus aureus bacteria, which he'd meant to throw away, had died. But instead of throwing them away, he stopped to think what might have caused some of his sample to die and the rest to live. After a lot of time and effort in his lab, Fleming worked out that some of his sample had been contaminated by a particular fungus, which he then managed to grow himself. As an ex-soldier in World War I, he'd seen hundreds of soldiers die due to bacterial infection, and he figured that if the fungus could kill bacteria on his bench, it might also kill bacteria in wounded soldiers. And he was right. Having renamed his mould juice penicillin, it was ready for public consumption in time for the next war on D-Day.
Sounds pretty interesting, right? Who knows all the wonderful things that happen because some guy left out some gross stuff in a petri dish. So, next up, we are going to talk about a toy. You may be familiar with this toy, you may not. And if you're not, you're going to learn about something new. But it's a toy called a slinky. And did you know the person who invented the slinky was actually trying to invent something for war? Not actually hurting anybody, but his job was to figure out how to help out on naval ships. Pretty cool. So take a moment, I'm gonna have you check out how the slinky came.
In 1943, Richard James, who was then a marine engineer, was commissioned to create a stabilizing device on ships. He was using tension springs. One of the tension springs had fallen off his table, his work table, and he noticed that it had a movement of walking. And he watched it as it walked and thought, this could be a great toy. And the wife got excited about it, and she decided to get out the dictionary and look up what could be a good name for it, and she found the word slinky.
So wow, going from securing things on a ship to making a toy that has delighted kids for decades. And last up, we're going to talk about something that you probably have used before in your classroom, or your parents have in their office, or maybe you have some at your house right now. And it is the Post-it. Post-its are pretty cool, and I know I use them a lot, but did you know that the glue or adhesive on the back of a Post-it that makes it where it will stick and where you can take it off without damaging wherever you put it, that was actually invented by mistake when somebody was trying to invent adhesive or glue that would stick together and stay there. So check out how we got Post-its.
Now the story behind the invention of the Post-it note starts in 1968, when Dr. Spencer Silver, who was a scientist at 3M, was trying to make a super strong adhesive. He was working on a specific adhesive that he was trying to invent, and through sheer accident, he actually ended up making an adhesive that was actually very weak. And he kind of did the opposite of what he was trying to accomplish. And he took this weak adhesive that he invented, and he didn't particularly have a use for it, but he could tell that he was onto something.
Okay guys, so that's our exploration of 3 big, great mistakes that led to wonderful things. So the next time you make a mistake, flip it around and say, I just made a great mistake because I'm going to learn from it. And maybe even if I don't invent the next awesome toy or the coolest office supply, your great mistake is going to help you learn so that next time you don't make that mistake. So I'm going to include a read aloud in the description down below. So if you want to hear a really awesome story about a girl who never makes mistakes and the lesson she learns, look in the description below, but I'm actually going to show you the book I'm talking about. It's called The Girl Who Never Made Mistakes. And it's a fantastic story about how making little mistakes is actually a good thing. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow for a little bit more about growth mindset. I hope you are expanding your brain and learning how to look on the bright side of some really tough stuff we're dealing with right now. So go ahead and get your hand ready for a high five. In 3, Elliot, you watching? 2, 1. Bye guys, have a great Wednesday.